Hello, I'm Christine Gillum, and I'm here today to share a lesson with you. This lesson is designed for ages kindergarten through second grade, but anyone can stay tuned in because this lesson is about communication, and we all need to be better communicators. For this lesson, you don't need anything right now except for your good listening ears, your good ideas, and your good questions. But later, you're going to need to have someone with you to have a conversation. It could be anyone at your house. So, we're ready to learn. Anybody can be a good communicator. What you have to do is learn how to share your ideas. You share your ideas and you listen to the ideas that other people have, and then you ask questions. And then when you answer each other and ask more questions, you get a great conversation. And that's what I want you to be able to do, is learn to have great communication with people. So I brought someone with me to help that happen. And this is my friend, Sunny. Hi, Sunny. Why don't you say hello, Sunny?
Hello, Sunny.
No, I mean say hello to our students.
Hello, students.
Well, today we're talking about communication, and I was just wondering if you had any ideas about that.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of ideas about communication.
Oh really? Well, why don't you share one with us?
Well, you have to talk loud, and you have to talk clear, and you have to make yourself understood.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, I was just wondering if you like books.
Love books.
Well, why don't you tell me something about that?
Well, I like to read to myself.
You can read?
Well, that's right. Pigs can read.
Well, who taught you to read?
My mom taught me to read.
That's funny, because my mom taught me to read too. And then later, I learned to read by going to school. Well, I really appreciate you talking with us and having this conversation. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, sure. Are you going to read a book?
Of course I am.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for.
All right. Well, you just sit right over here and we'll get to that part, okay? All right. Now, I have a book I do want to share with you. Now, you are listening for something in this book. You are listening for ideas to start a conversation with after this is over. And this book is Which Would You Rather Be by William Steig. Now, on the front of the book, you see a magic hat. You're going to have to keep watching that magic hat because what's coming out of it is very important. Which Would You Rather Be by William Steig. Which would you rather be? A stick or a stone? An elbow or a knee? A cat or a dog? A dog. Which would you rather be? A snake or a crocodile? A mouse or an elephant? A boy or a girl? Notice, they're both hockey players. See, they're thinking about that. Which would you rather be? Rain or snow? Thunder, kaboom! Or lightning? A grown-up or a kid? A kid. Now this is where you need to really listen closely. Here are lots of questions that would come up with some good ideas that you could ask to start a conversation with someone. Which would you rather be? A duck or a fox? Who could you ask that question? Which would you rather be? A flute or a tuba? A shirt or pants? Tall or short? Who do you know that you could ask, which would you rather be? Candy or cake? A cherry or a plum? A moose or a sun? Who could you ask? Would you rather be asleep or awake? Alone or together? With all of these things that came out of the rabbit's hat, would you rather be together? We've got to think about that. The rabbit puts everything back in his hat. So what are the questions that you heard in this book that you could use today to start a conversation? That's your assignment. Find several people and ask them questions and listen to their ideas, and then share your ideas and let them listen to you. So don't forget to have a good conversation with someone. You listen, you ask questions, and you share your own ideas. Well, that about wraps it up for today. Remember, I'm Christine Gillum. I had a wonderful time sharing with you today, and I can't wait to come back next week. Thank you very much.
Kindergarten is great at Kansas City Public Schools.
I know they have really good teachers. I know this is a great school.
They teach them stuff that I thought my kids would never be able to know at the age of 5.
Since deciding to send our kiddos to a neighborhood school, we've become even more of a part of our community.
Now is the time to enroll your future kindergartner for the new school year. Visit enrollkc.org today.
This is Chinese for beginners. So today we're going to talk about Chinese food, 中国菜. So last time we introduced a Chinese holiday, the Mid-Autumn Festival. Let's see if you remember something. So remember the Mid-Autumn Festival, 中秋节 is every year on lunar calendar, the August 15th, and this year it will be October 1st on the solar calendar. And we talk about the moon, the rabbit, and also people will eat mooncake, appreciating the moon, and also make lanterns, or we go to a lantern show on that day. So today we're going to continue explore about Chinese culture, and today we're going to talk about the 8 main Chinese cuisines and their features. So things you may need, like last time, you'll need a notebook and a pencil to take notes. Okay, so take a second and let's get ready to learn. Okay, so 中国菜. So 中国 means China and 菜 means food. So 中国菜, Chinese food. So when you think about Chinese food here in America, some dishes may come up like the crab rangoon and the fortune cookies. However, these are what we call the American Chinese food, which means if you go to a restaurant in China, they probably will not give you a fortune cookie because we don't have it there. So these are actually invented here in America. And so what's the difference between American Chinese food and authentic Chinese food? So here, like we have here in Panda Press, this kind of restaurant are actually American Chinese food, and also the paper boxes you receive when you get a Chinese food delivery. That's American style, not really authentic Chinese style. So when we see American Chinese food, they are localized Chinese food, which means they cooked toward the American tastes. While the authentic Chinese food, they are the real Chinese food we actually eat in China. And today we're going to talk about the 8 main cuisines. There are a lot of cuisines in China, but today we're going to focus on 8 of them. So along the lesson, I would like to play a bingo game with you. So on your notebook or paper, I want you to draw a 3-to-3 chart, and we're going to fill in the 8 cuisines as we learn in the lesson today. And I'll give you one free box. You may play it with your family or if you're with your friend. So I'll give you some bingo words like the 8 cuisines. By the end, you can see who will guess the bingo first. Maybe you can make a bet like the one who didn't get a bingo today will wash the dishes. Okay, so I'll give you 10 seconds to draw the chart. Okay, welcome back. So the 8 Chinese cuisines we're talking about today is on this map. Okay, so let's get started with the first one, the Shandong cuisine. So on your bingo chart, what I want you to write is only the name of the cuisine. You don't need to write cuisine, just write Shandong in one of the box. Okay, so Shandong cuisine is popular in Shandong province and the southern Liaoning province. As you can see, Shandong province is here and Liaoning province is right here. So they are close to each other. And the taste of Shandong cuisine is salty and the sweet and sour flavors. And we use a lot of soup, ginger, and garlic. And we're good at cooking seafood. I'm actually from Shandong province, so I like the Shandong cuisine very much. And here are some representative dishes. So as you can see, we have a lot of seafood here, and also like the porks. So Chinese people eat a lot of porks. Also, the next cuisine is what we call the Jiangsu cuisine. Okay, so don't forget, write it on your charts. Jiangsu. So Jiangsu cuisine is popular in Jiangsu province, and the taste it's mild and slightly sweet, and they have exquisite cuttings and precise control of heat, and they have delicate dish appearances. As you can see in this picture, this is like the shape of a dragon, and here, as you can see, they prefer to preserve the natural taste of food, which is similar to Anhui cuisine. Okay, so Anhui is right here next to Jiangsu. So you can write Anhui on your chart. So the taste of Anhui cuisine are salty and fresh. They'll have light flavors, preserving the original flavor of ingredients. And here are some representative dishes. And one dish you might want to try is the furry tofu. Okay, so it's tofu, but it's very furry. So, and then we have Zhejiang cuisine. So Zhejiang cuisine is popular in Zhejiang province. Like it's similar to Jiangsu and Anhui cuisine, which has light and fresh flavor, and they're good at controlling fire heat, and they prefer yellow wine as special seasoning. So here are some Zhejiang cuisine dishes, and this one is extremely popular. It's called the Dongpo Rou. It was actually invented by a very famous Chinese scholar in Song Dynasty. And then we have the Fujian cuisine, which is popular in Fujian province. It has light, fresh flavor, sweet and sour, and they have special condiments, and they cook a lot of woodland delicacies and seafood. And here are some examples, and this is actually lychee meat, and this is an oyster omelette. So as you can see, the cuisines near the East Coast, they all good at cooking seafood. And here, the next one is the Guangdong, where you can see the Cantonese cuisine. So they are popular in Guangdong province. which is here, and also Hong Kong and Macau, which is right here, very close. So they have mild, fresh and natural taste, and they widely use of materials and rich cooking methods. And one of Cantonese cuisine which is very popular is the dim sum. So you can actually find some very good dim sum places here in Kansas City too. So if you want to try it out one day. And then we have the Hunan cuisine. Okay, so Hunan cuisine is popular in Hunan province. So Hunan cuisine is famous for its spicy, hot, and salty taste. And they use a lot of chili and soybeans. And here are some dishes of Hunan cuisine. One special cuisine dish, we call it the stinky tofu. You can see it's kind of the color is dark and it smells stinky, but when you taste it, it's actually very good. So, and the next one is Sichuan cuisine. So Sichuan cuisine is popular in Sichuan province and also Chongqing, the city of Chongqing. So it's also very hot and spicy. One difference from the Hunan cuisine is they are mouth-numbing. So they use a lot of pepper, chili, and garlic as well. And the one represent for the Sichuan cuisine is the hot pot. So hot pot is very popular in China now. So especially when young people hang out together, hot pot is a good choice. So here are the 8 main cuisines we talked about today. So check your bingo chart, see if you get everything. So we have the Shandong cuisine, which has salty, sweet and sour flavor. Jiangsu cuisine, Zhejiang cuisine. We have Anhui cuisine and the Fujian cuisine. So these 4, they have kind of similar taste, like mild and the preserve of the original taste of food. And also the Cantonese cuisine, the dim sum, and the Hunan cuisine, which is hot, spicy, and salty, and Sichuan cuisine, hot, spicy, and mouth-numbing. So these are the 8 cuisines, the authentic Chinese food we talked today. And let's get to your bingo chart. Let's play the game. So I'm going to give 3 words, okay? See if you have that. So the first one is Shandong cuisine. Second one is Guangdong, or the Cantonese cuisine. And the last one is Sichuan cuisine. Okay, so check if you have bingo. Remember, if you made a bet with your family. So the one who doesn't have a bingo will wash the dishes today. Okay. And let's conclude with the homework. So I would like you to do some research about one of the 8 cuisines. So choose one dish you would like to try most. And do some research about the story behind the dish. So like the origin, how it was created, the ingredients, or the flavor of it. Okay, and then I would like you to introduce the dish to your family or a friend. Or maybe if you like it, you can try make it by yourself. Okay, so that concludes for our lesson today about Chinese food, 中国菜. And I'm happy to have you in my class today, and we'll see you next week in World Languages.
I love Southeast because of the culture, the band program, and restorative justice.
I love Southeast because of the academics, sports, and students.
I love Southeast because of the people, the energy, and the advanced classes.
It's not alike. I love Southeast because the students here at Southeast are full of potential and they believe in achieving anything. We are Southeast. We stand shoulder to shoulder.
Join the Southeast family. Enroll today.
Hello, my name is Jin Yang, and this is the Chinese lesson for the beginners. Today, we are going to talk about the 4 Chinese tones. Okay, let's take a quick second to get ready to learn. What you will need today is a notebook if you need to take a note, or if you need a pen, if you can write. Please listen to me. 请听我说。请听我说。One of the first concepts you need to learn when tackling Mandarin Chinese is the tones. There are 4 main Chinese tones in Mandarin Chinese. The first tone is high and flat. You can see it's flat and high. For example, ma. Some people feel like it sounds robotic because it's a monotone. The second tone is rising. You see, here's the second tone. It's a rising tone. Some people feel like you are asking a question. For example, ma, ma. The third tone is very low. We say it's a falling rising tone, or the dipping tone. For example, ma, ma. The fourth tone is a falling tone. Some people feel it sounds a little bit angry. For example, ma, ma. Don't be afraid to emphasize the first tone by making sounds a little bit angry. Let's try. Ma, ma. Let's review. We have 4 Chinese tones. First tone, for example, ma, is a high-level tone. Second tone, for example, ma, is a rising tone. Third tone, for example, ma, is a low rising tone. The first tone, ma, is a falling tone. Sounds a little bit angry. Ma. And there also a tone called neutral tone. For example, ma, ma. The second syllable, ma, ma, ma. You pronounce soft and light. And we say this is a neutral tone. Okay, you may need a notebook and a pen to write down the Chinese tone marks. I'm going to write with you together. The first tone, the second tone, the third tone, and the last one, the fourth tone. Let's practice the tone marks for each tone. Please use your hand gesture to mark the tone with me. With different Chinese tones, the meaning can be very different. Let's try. Please use your hand gesture and see the different meanings when you pronounce the tone with me. Ma, ma. Ma can mean the mother. Ma. 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 Ma can mean feel numb. Ma. The third tone. Ma. Ma. Ma can mean the horse. Ma. Ma. Ma can mean to scold. Let's review. ma, 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 ma. Great, you did great. Let's see more examples. For example, 탕, 탕. 탕 can mean the soup. 탕, 탕, 탕. 탕 can mean candy. Do you like candy? Then you can say 탕, 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 탕. 탕 can mean to lie down. 탕. The first tongue. For example, tongue. tongue. tongue means very hot. tongue. tongue. Let's review. Use your gesture and try to pronounce with me. tongue, 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 tongue. Great. This is the first tongue. Let's try. Shu, shu is high and flat. Shu, shu. This is the second tongue. It's the rising tongue. Let's try. Shu, shu. This is the third tongue. Let's try. Shu, shu. This is the fourth tongue. It's a falling tongue. Shu, shu. Let's put together. Shu, 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 shu. Very good. Now it's your turn to try to mark the tongue with me. I'm going to say the word. We just learned 4 Chinese tongues. The first tongue, the second tongue, the third tongue, and the fourth tongue. I'm going to say a pronunciation. You can use your gesture. Try to mark the tongue. Please listen. 请听我说。妈，妈。This is the first tongue. Ma. Did you get it? No problem. We can try the second one. You ready? Ma. Ma. This is the third tongue. Ma. Ma. You get it? Let's try another one. Tang. Tang. This is the first tongue. Tang. Tang. this one, please listen, 请听我说 and try to mark the tongue. 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 You get it? This is the fourth tongue. Tongue is a falling tongue. Okay, I'm going to say different tongues. You can see the meaning and try to write the tongue marks or use your gestures to mark the tongue. Then later, I'm going to show you the answer. tongue, tongue, tongue. Next one. 树，树，树。Okay, let's try one more. 书，书，书。好, I give you 5 seconds. Then I'm going to show you the answer. Okay, let's see if you get the right answer. The first one, 糖, 糖. The second tongue is a rising tongue. You get it? 非常好. Next one, 树, 树, 树. It's a falling tongue. Sounds a little bit angry. 树 is the fourth tongue. You get it? 树. The last one, 书, 书 is highly flat. It's the first tongue. 书, 书. Excellent. That concludes our lesson today. Let's have a quick review. Today you learned the 4 Chinese tongues. High-level tongue, the first tongue. For example, ma. Rising tongue, the second tongue. For example, ma. Low rising tongue, for example, ma. The last one is a falling tongue. For example, ma. That's the 4 Chinese tongues. Ma, 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 ma. And remember, this week work on practice speaking the 4 Chinese tongues. It is not necessary to pronounce perfectly or to get everything right at the beginning. Try your best so you can continue to improve. It's been my pleasure having you in my class today. I'm Jin Yang. We will see you next week in World Language. Thank you.
I chose manual because it's challenging and fun and it can help me with college.
I chose manual because I wanted to get a jump start in my career with culinary arts.
I chose manual to acquire skills I'd use in real life.
I chose manual because I want to be an ER doctor and be an EMT is my first step.
Kickstart your future today at Manual Career and Technical Center. Manual is open for all 11th and 12th grade students in both Kansas and Missouri. Learn more today at enrollkc.org/manual or call 816-418-5200.
Turner, Social Studies Coordinator, Kansas City Public Schools. Today, we're here to talk to you about 8th grade United States history, life before European exploration. We're going to talk about the Native Americans, how they got here, and basically the life they lived before Europeans encroached in their territory. How did the Native Americans get here? This land bridge, basically that connects from Alaska, from Russia, basically the Native Americans came over through their different time periods. If you can see this is a straight out of Africa model. Basically, this happened over 100,000 years ago. Africans started spreading to basically Europe about 40,000 years. Then in that time frame, about 70,000 years, they started spreading over to basically Southeast Asia. Then from there, they started spreading over to the Americas. And they came over at different time frames. If you can see this, the first ones started settling in Alaska. We'll call those the Inuit Native Americans. Then we have another group that came over about 12,000 years ago. They spread down south, all the way to South America. Then another group about 4,500 years ago spread more eastward. They spread over to basically northeast Canada, basically to northeast United States. So we have to understand that the Native Americans are not like just monolithic people. These are different groups of people. These are different tribes. They have different connections. They all have different origin stories. So let's talk about the Aztec, Mayas, and the Incas. These guys had different, basically, kingdoms. These guys had different empires. And if you can see, they had covered vast amounts of territory. You have the Aztecs in northern Mexico, the Mayas in Central America, and the Incas in South America. And basically, these groups, they did feud with one another when they came to combat, but most of the time, they're basically left to themselves. They took over these smaller tribes in the area and used them basically as human labor and human sacrifices. Okay, these Native American tribes all live differently. If you can see from this map, basically, these up north, they live this subsistence lifestyle, basically use the fishing. They use the ocean to basically take care of themselves. If you can see down here in this area, they basically use a lot of farming. This area, they use a lot of trade. So none of these groups actually live the same way. They all live differently. And that's what we like. So if you had a stereotype where they all live the same way, they all ate the same food, no, they didn't. They all basically ate different foods. They basically took care of themselves a whole different way. They traded a whole lot differently too. Okay, we're going to talk about corn. Back then, they called it maize, all right? So maize actually came up through Mexico. They traded basically through the southeast United States. And basically, this helped basically expand the basic population of Native Americans here. This helped expand trade routes. This helps expand relationships. And guess what? They actually fought wars over this too. So with corn, we all like it. We all like to eat off the cob. But understand that this basically changed the Native Americans' lifestyle. All right, the Pueblo Indians. These guys settled basically New Mexico area. They're still around today. But these guys use irrigation techniques because guess what? They settled like in these desert areas. So they needed water to be brought in. So they set up these large communities. This is the community that they lived in. So they had to set up irrigation to get to their farming. So when they did that, this actually created basically a new lifestyle for them and their trading partners. So this community with the Pueblo, basically it was a large trading city. Loosely, they had the common language and basically common root language. Understand that these are different tribes. Before European encroachment, you have to understand that these Native Americans had huge cities. Huge cities. All right? Up here, we're going to call these the Inuit and Native Americans. Basically, colloquially, y'all call them Eskimos, and that's basically the wrong term. The Inuit Native Americans. All right? So here, they relied a lot on fishing. They relied a lot on hunting. All right? They relied on trading partners through the South. The California Native Americans, they relied on a lot of trading with the Inuit Native Americans. But again, they had a different lifestyle. They relied on fishing, they relied on hunting, but at the same time, their lifestyle was totally different than the Pueblo Indians in New Mexico. All right, the Great Basin and Native Americans. These are the guys that, you have this, stereotypical, these guys are inward, right? So they did a lot of hunting compared to fishing like these guys on the coast did. So their lifestyle is totally different than what the Inuits and the Pueblos. The Cayuga, all right? Cayuga is this huge city, basically accommodate East St. Louis, Illinois, right outside basically St. Louis. This is a huge city. At the highest level, it was over 20 million Native Americans that basically would trade within the city. All right? So it was huge. It was massive. All right? This happened right here in Missouri, right? So when we talk about this, you have to understand Europeans were late to the game, right? You had different civilizations in Africa that were basically massive. You had civilizations in North America that were massive. Europeans didn't reach their greatness till about 1500 and after that. Because guess what? The Native Americans had their greatness, Africans had their greatness, Asians had their greatness. So basically Europeans are late to the game when they started exploration. We have to understand that this is a diverse group. Despite the diversity, sometimes we share characteristics, all right? Again, the agricultural revolution, as we talk about these massive cities, helped spur basic population growth and a sedentary lifestyle. Gender roles. Tasks were divided up and tend to be more power within families. So gender roles are broken up within families. And sometimes women actually held basically a more powerful role than men. So now you have this traditional, Western society of gender roles. Sometimes women actually made all the decisions. And again, this is all the tribes here in America. For 8th grade social studies, you have to understand that there was a massive amount of tribes in North America before the Europeans started coming in. And as you can see, this is how they were broken up. Again, gender roles, you have basically had women and men working side by side, basically make sure that farm, basically make sure that seed planted on the farms. So, when the Europeans came to America, they introduced new technology, new animals came to America. So the horse changed the lifestyle of Native Americans in North America when Europeans started coming in. That made them more mobile. So, before European encroachment, we have to understand that Native Americans had these huge cities, right? They basically were living their greatness until Europeans came over. Through disease, warfare, and other things, basically dwindled the population of Native Americans from 20 million down to 2 million within 100 years later. So, this is what I want you to do. We know why Europeans started coming to America, right? We know that basically they needed more land. They were in basically this exploration. I want you to basically look what kind of food that you got in your cabinets. I want you to basically do a little research on the food. If you got like some corn, we know where it came from. I want you to look at green beans, see where they came from. And basically think about how your food from 1500 to today, how it changed. I'm Paul Turner, Social Studies Coordinator, Kansas City Public Schools. Talk to you guys later. Hello, my name is Paul Turner, Social Studies Coordinator at Kansas City Public Schools. Today we're going to talk to you guys about the age of exploration. Why did it happen? Why did it need to happen? And basically, the outcome of it. We're going to go over basically the details of the age of exploration. What you need now, go grab a pencil, go grab some paper so we can talk about it. Alright, in the first part of this lesson, I'm going to discuss with you guys America with exploration. The Vikings were the first group to come here. Basically, we want to talk about the rationale why Europeans had to basically come over to North America and discover this new world. These are going to be our key questions. In the 1400s, there was little communication and trade over long distance, yet today it is hard to imagine a world without these things. How do you think countries benefit through these exchanges? How are these exchanges damaging? How do the restrictions of trade to the Far East help initiate the great age of exploration? So again, I told you guys, the Vikings had knowledge of North America in the 11th century, but there was little incentive basically for westward expansion to 1400s. The Vikings landed right here in Newfoundland. They were there, but they got chased off by the Native American tribes in basically 11th century. Leif Erikson, that was his group. So with this, these people needed to trade with these people. After the Crusades, Europeans got this huge taste of luxury goods, luxury spices, and they knew that they wanted to keep trading with this group of people. But one thing that was hindering the trade was going through Muslim lands. Huge taxes would be on basically these luxury goods. So these Europeans want to think about a way where they can basically circumvent the Muslim lands to get over to these places like India, basically China, because they want these luxury goods. Think about this. You got a luxury good in your home, like fine china. Guess where it came from? It comes from China, right? So, the Iberian Peninsulas, Portugal and Spain, these guys start thinking, how can we get around not paying these high taxes through these Muslim lands and basically create an opportunity for us to dominate the world? So they got smart about it. So they discovered basically we can sail around basically the world to get over to where we need to get to. Because these spices were good. The Crusades allowed these people to taste these fine spices. They had these luxury goods on their mind. They wanted gold. They wanted chocolate. They wanted all these good things. So how did they get to it without going through these Muslim lands? So they knew if they get to these lands, they had to basically start spreading their religion. Catholicism was huge during this time frame. The Crusades fostered this renewed interest of goods from Asia. Exploration basically motivated long rivalries in European states. And they want to expand their dominance in these areas. So what I do, I teach the 3 G's. We're going to talk, not the 3 G's from what you guys used to, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Dr. Dre. We're going to talk about the 3 different G's. We're going to talk about gold, God, and glory. Alright? The duty, basically, of a Christian was to spread this religion. Most Europeans still practice mercantilism. What is mercantilism? Basically, it's the wealth of a nation in gold and silver and acquiring colonies to preserve the wealth. So, Europeans, they basically were growing. They were living right on top of each other. So, the population of growth and commercial prosperity and development of powerful nation states led to the age of exploration. The arrival of the age of exploration happened in the 14th and 15th centuries. It's triggered based by a demographic and social change. New ships helped explore that, push that to this new age of exploration. The caravel, the kayak, and the flute basically created this. These ships could carry basically goods long periods. They can carry cattle. They can carry livestock. They're versatile. So, how do we get started on this age of exploration? Prince Henry, he the navigator, organized voyages along the coast of Africa seeking a water route to Asia. Along that route, he would set up these different forts. So it was the Europeans that actually we're going to say it's the Portuguese that actually started slave trade. As you can see, as they started setting up these different forts, by 1500, Pedro Cabral basically accidentally discovered Brazil. So remember, Brazil is the only Portuguese nation. Let me start that.
Okay. All right. Let's just start there. Here we go. 3, 2.
All right. So along the coast of Africa, they started building these forts. Remember, the Portuguese started basically the slave trade. Portuguese established these forts on the coast of Africa, as you can see. You have Fort Innis, Fort Diaz, basically in 1445. Cal, basically in 1482. Gomez, 1456. Cal, basically in 1486. So we have these different forts. They're setting up these trading ports. So along these forts, they started trading for gold and slaves. So along this coast, you have to understand that this basically set up the Portuguese Empire. So, by 1500, the Portuguese actually touched the New World. This happened by accident with Pedro Cabral. He was actually trying to go all the way over here, but he messed up and went to the New World. Portugal basically only had one possession in the New World, and that's Brazil. Brazil is the only Portuguese-speaking country in the New World. They held on to that possession all the way to the 1890s. So, by accident, they got this huge territory in the New World. As you can see, their focus is on the Old World. They're focused on places like Macau. They're from Calcutta. They're focused on Colombo. They're focused on Mozambique. This is the area that they're focusing on. They're focused on the Old World. While Spain, they wanted to focus on the New World. By 1492, Spain fully funded Columbus's voyages. Basically, it was newly unified Spain eager to compete with Portugal. No longer were they in a civil war. They wanted to compete with Portugal and basically expand their territory. They knew that they needed to get more ground. They needed to get more territory. Because again, the Iberian Peninsula is a small piece of land compared to the rest of the world. 1499, Amerigo Vespucci mapped and described the New World. The Americas is named after Amerigo Vespucci. His voyages are sponsored by Spain. All these Italians started going to Spain to get their voyages funded. Ferdinand Magellan, sponsored by Spain, he was the first one to circumvent the whole world. By 1494, there was something coming, and the Pope knew it. So what the Pope decided to do, it was to orchestrate the Treaty of Tordesillas. Basically, creating a lot of demarcation and separating the Spanish parts and the Portuguese parts in the world. Again, Portugal, the only thing they wanted was Brazil in the New World. Their focus is on the Old World. And again, that was the biggest doom when it starts to come in with other European competitors to the world. Because guess what? They had to compete with the Dutch, the English, and the Old World. Eventually, they fell off, and basically Spain still had territories in this New World and getting gold and all that stuff sent back to the Old World. So as we keep going into this, we had two questions at the beginning. In the 1400s, there were little communications and trade over long distance, yet it's hard to imagine a world without these things. How do countries benefit from these exchanges? And how are these exchanges damaging? Alright, so this is what we could put. Countries could benefit from international trade by being able to obtain goods and services that were previously unavailable. This allowed for increased communication. People benefit from insights in traditional literature, sciences. Alright, on the negative side, world trade has benefited from exploitation of labor. We're going to talk a lot about slave labor, especially in this new world. Alright? Environmental destructions. Opening new avenues of communication. We can actually talk about how TV and radio basically was a form of exploration into this new world. So to answer our second question, how did the restrictions of trade in the Far East help initiate the Great Age of Exploration? You remember Europeans upper class developed this huge taste for these luxury goods, right? On demand, they want existed these luxury items from Asia, spices, jewels, silks, porcelain. But they didn't want to pay the tax to the Italians. They didn't want to pay the tax to the Muslims. So both the basically Spanish and the Portuguese developed new trade routes. They wanted to bypass those two. They knew that they didn't want to pay those taxes to get all the way to Western Europe. So the age of exploration basically helped create this whole new territory, these whole new avenues of new trading cities, new trading ports, new forts throughout the world. They found new trading partners. So now, I want you guys at home, I want you to look in your cabinet. I want you to look at some of your spices from basically what you got in your cabinet and decide, look and do some research. I want you to look about, see where they came from. How did they get here to the United States? Then I want you basically we're going to talk a little bit about this next week as we start pushing on European incursions in Native American territories. I'm Paul Turner, Social Studies Coordinator. See you guys next week.
I love Southeast because of the culture, the advanced program, and restorative justice.
I love Southeast because of the academics, sports, and students.
I love Southeast because of the people, the energy, and the advanced classes.
It's not alike. I love Southeast because the students here at Southeast are full of potential and they believe in achieving anything. We are Southeast.
Southeast.
We stand shoulder to shoulder.
Join the Southeast family. Enroll today.